All right, guys, Warlock here. I'm going to tell you guys about when I was a bouncer. So I've worked as a bouncer. I worked at a venue that my friend and I and another guy helped run. It was an alt rock, alt punk band type venue. Completely different crowd. Nothing really great happened. I think one time I had to stop some guys from trying to set the place on fire. Most of the experience I had was at a club called The Realm, and it was a really popular club here in El Paso back in the day. I mean, so popular that like on Fridays and Saturdays, like Fridays, you would have a line to get into the club. There was about a block or two, at least a block, right? Sometimes 2 blocks. Like people waiting that long to get into this club was just crazy to me. Also, my friend or two of my friends opened up a gentleman's club. It was like a block from my house. I didn't officially work for them, but since it was a block from my house, I was always there. So I did help them out, but never really had any fights. You know, I had to escort some dudes out sometimes, but for the most part, really chill. Most of the just crazy stuff, actually all the crazy stuff, ended up happening over at the club called The Realm. And it was open several nights. It had different themes. Tuesday was gay night. Really great night to work. Like, I'll be honest with you. Gay people, for one, know the concept of tipping. It's amazing. They know how to tip. They appreciate tipping. They appreciate service. They will tip you. The other thing, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but like there isn't a homophobic bone in my body. Like, you know, straight up, I have a lot of gay friends, and gay friends or gay people or gay men for the most part. I'm talking about gay men here. They are the coolest people on the planet because if you ever want to feel like what a girl feels like, straight up go to a gay club. Like, it's not, you don't catch gay. Trust me, it's not, you know, it's not, none of that's going to happen. But you feel what it's like to be a girl. Guys will come up and be like, man, you're really good looking. And you're like, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. They'll want to buy you a drink. You're like, hey, you know what? Appreciate it. I'm not gay. And they're like, hey, it's cool. I'll still buy you a drink. They'll charm you, you know, stuff like that. Like, and don't fall for the charm you. They're not trying to get in. They understand. I mean, I'm sure they have hopes, but for the most part, like super cool places to be. Like, if you want to feel the total girl experience, go to a gay club. But if you're homophobic, don't. But I mean, if you have like, if it doesn't bother you at all, you'd be like, man, this is the life. Like, girls have it made. But anyway, so gay night was pretty cool. Never really had huge problems. Like, you know, every now and then there'd be fights. Wednesdays, hip hop night, man. We all hated working Wednesdays, man. Hip hop night just brought the scum of the Northeast, Lower Valley, just everywhere to that club. And like, you wouldn't even, like, we'd be open 2 minutes and there'd be a fight. Like, it was just like the people, the women were kind of ratchet. Like, not all of them, but you know, you're bringing in the crowd that likes the thugs, that, you know, specifically, you know, addresses that. So and the problem was that, like, if you didn't show up for Wednesday, they wouldn't let you work like Tuesdays or Thursdays, or you know, so you didn't get to work the nights where you would get tips, because honestly, bouncing is like a crap career. There's no benefits. You make, like, I think it's $6 an hour is what I used to make, and minimum wage was $4.40. So I think most bouncers nowadays make $8 to $10 an hour. It's not a full-time gig. Like I said, there's no benefits. You get injured, you're pretty much screwed. You know, they're like, well, you know, we don't need you. There's no sick leave. There's none of that. There's no glory in it, except for the fact that, you know, every now and then you have a little bit of power. You know, there's a few benefits that come with the job, but for the most part, it's a job for young people. Like, it really is. Like, if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're a bouncer, you got to rethink your life, because I mean, unless you're like, you know, make good money. Like, there's some clubs where you will make good money off the tips, but if you're just, you know, there, and, you know, like in El Paso, straight up, people don't tip, it's not gonna happen. But Wednesday's hip hop night, it was a horrible, long shift. We'd survive it, go out, have breakfast, and then just dread it coming again next week. Thursdays was like transvestite alternative night, you know, bi type night. Also really good tippers, cool crowd, like really just very few times where there was any real drama. Everyone tells you how good looking you are. It's awesome. You're on top of the world. What can I say? Fridays, 2-cent drinks. They had 2-cent drinks. You would pay to get into the club, and anything, beers, anything you would order was 2 cents. At one of the bars, a huge bar in the front. There was a bar in the back with 2 bartenders where you'd pay regular price. So if you didn't want to wait, because honestly, if you had a line that was like 1 or 2 blocks and the club's already packed, By the time you got your 2 drinks, because you could only get a certain amount of drinks. You can't like be like, let me get 12 beers. It doesn't work that way. You would have to get back in line, and it'd take 30 minutes for you to get your other drinks. I mean, so, a lot of times people would make it to the end of the bar. That was Fridays. Saturdays was just, a regular night, but it would still get packed. Now, I'm glad that I got exposed to this at an early age, because one of the key things about being a bouncer is you're not a participant, you're an observer, and you observe it, and you observe people and their surroundings and behaviors, and you wise up to the whole club scene like really, really quick, because that's all you're doing. You're observing. If I'm working 4 or 5 nights a week, that's 30 hours that I'm just observing people in this environment. And it's specifically observing females. And when I talk females, once again, you guys know what girls I'm talking about, all right? Don't come at me with this. I'm not, paintbrushing the entire female population. There's certain females I'm talking about, and you all know who I'm talking about. I'll give you an example. There's just rules in life that we follow that apply to us. That if you go somewhere, there's a line. And when I would work at the club, I would work, usually I would work the inside. Sometimes I would be lucky enough to work the VIP entrance, and I'll explain that later. And then sometimes I'd work the door to get into the club. Now that's where you made real money. Also the VIP one, but the door was where you made some real money, especially on like Fridays and Saturdays. Now the way it works is you get in line and you have to wait till you get your turn to get into the club. As people are exiting, they're bringing more people in. Sometimes they just make you have a line. Like we would start, the club's pretty much empty, and they're like, wait for the line to hit the block and then start letting people in so that it looks like it's popping. And for some reason, this attracts people. Like I see a place with a line, I'm like, I'll go somewhere else. I ain't got time to wait for the line. But, you get in the line, but there's, certain girls that feel that, these lines don't apply to them at all. Now, the way it really works is if you see a club with a line, you can go to the front of the line. If you tip the guy at the front $20, he'll usually let you in. Men are pretty smart about that. They'll if they know that they want to impress the girl they're with, they'll go up to the front of the line, give you $20, you'll let them in. I mean, there's like it works just like at Disney World. You know what? There's a fast pass. You don't want to in line, get the fast pass, you get to the front of the line. So, works that way. Most women know they have to stand in line. There's a few women that feel exemptions for these things. And a lot of times they would walk up to the front of the line, and if I was at the door, it wasn't their night. Because if you were like a VIP customer, you had a VIP card. You would pay a monthly fee to be a VIP customer. You'd get in front of the line, you could get into the VIP club, or the VIP section, and you flash the card. I let you and whoever you were with in. Women didn't buy VIP cards. I'm going to tell you why they didn't have to, but they would come to the front of the line and just like straight up, like just look at you. Like not even a hi, not even a, hey, how's your night going? Just, straight up like take the rope off and let me in. And a lot of times I'm like, can I help you? And they're like, we want to get in. I'm like, yeah, there's a line right over there. Sorry, but you have no power here. You got to get in the line. Because I mean, if they were nice, maybe, but for the most part, I'm like, hey man, everyone else is following society's rules. They apply to you as well. A lot of times these girls would say they knew one of the managers. Specifically, a lot of them would be, there was a manager named Damon, Damon, not Damien. And they would go, I know Damien, because I guess they've never heard of the name Damon. Not a very common name. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I don't know a Damien. They're like, he's a manager here. I'm like, I know all the managers here. I know a manager named Damon. And they're like, well, can you get Damon? And I'm like, no, I'm in the front. I don't see him. Considering you don't know his actual name, no, you can get in the line. Sorry. And you know what? That's just, I apply the rules equally. When I was the doorman, everyone was treated equal unless you had the money to buy the fast pass to get into the front of the club. All right. That's how it works. That's how real life works. When you make $6 an hour, those $20 go a long way. You get quite a few of those guys. You make a couple $100 a night if you work the front of the club. So, funny story. My friend Josh used to sell cell phones at the kiosk at one of the malls here. And he had this huge crush on one of the girls that worked at another kiosk. And finally, he's all like, hey, dude, you know what? I'm going on a date with her. Finally got up. We're going to go meet here. So he goes to meet her there, and she brought a coworker with her. And the coworker brought a friend. So he goes to meet her, and it's like 3 girls. And they're ordering drinks and everything. And he's just kind of being ignored. Like the entire night, he's just kind of being ignored. And when the bill comes, they all like, point at him. He gets the bill. He's all like, well, well, are we gonna like split it up? Because he's like, I'll pay half because I got you, and like she was just offended. She was offended by it, but he manages to talk to her, and he ends up paying the whole bill. I would have told him, dude, the moment I showed up and there were two other girls there, I would have been like, yo, it's been nice, but emergency, But he ends up arranging for another date. He's going to go pick her up, and he crashes his car a block from her house. Now, he crashes his car, unable to make it. Finally calls her up. He's like, hey, you know what? I was in a car accident. Wasn't able to make it. And she says, yeah, I saw it from my apartment a block away. She didn't even, like, the fact that he became it was a bother for her to even check if he was okay. She saw the accident. She didn't even bother to go check on him. All right. So beauty of it is when he had told me about her, I went to the mall one day, I was talking to him, and he's like, that's the girl. And I'm like, oh, I seen her at the club. Happened to be the doorman about a week after all that happened. And she walks up with her friends to the front of the line. And I'm like, can I help you? And she's like, yeah, we'd like to get in. I'm like, yeah, sure thing. Get in line. They're like, we come here all the time. I'm like, so do the people that are in the line. So you should get in line. They're like, they usually let us through. And I'm like, I don't know who this magical they you speak of is, but I'm at the door right now. And I'm letting people that are in the line in. So if you want to get in line, go ahead and do that. They throw a fit. Like, oh my God. And like people start saying, yeah, get in the line. And you start hearing everyone in the line, the girls, yeah, get in the line, get in the line. Like, we're never coming back. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care. Doormen don't care. If you tell the doorman at a club, I'm never coming back, he doesn't really care because he doesn't make any money off you coming to the club. That's straight up the truth. Unless he owns the club, it's no money off his back. Too bad. So sad. So, I finally got to call him up. I'm like, dude, guess what happened? Yeah, payback. She was humbled. So anyway, all right. Now we did bring up a lot of fights. I did bring up a lot of fights. I did get hit a lot. I did take a lot of people down. One of the things about clubs is you also have to be very careful because bouncers aren't necessarily hired as like a bouncer job description. They hire you as like a doorman or greeter or something, because if you like get into an engagement and you hurt somebody or someone gets hurt during that time period, they will throw the liability on you. You're not protected because there's actually no specific like licensing or registration in Texas that I know of for bouncers. It's just basically, oh, you're a big dude. Yeah, I'm going to hire you. You're supposed to do this. This is what they tell you. But should they get sued, they're going to throw the liability back on you and say you were acting outside of the scope of your job and fire you. So it's a misconception. So a lot of times, bouncers don't have free reign. You have no more authority to do anything to somebody than the regular person there. I mean, that's basically it. Unless they actually hire like a licensed security, at which point they'll have like one licensed security officer there, and then the rest of you guys are doormen or greeters or whatever the hell they want to call you or give you as a job title. So you do have to be careful about, how you treat people or how you're throwing them out or how you take them down, because once again, there isn't any protections for you there. You will get arrested for assault, so I need to be careful about that. But yeah, there was a lot of them. Hardest fights to break up, straight up, without a doubt, female fights. Females will lock onto each other's hair and not let go. Their friends will jump in and hit you as you're trying to break it up because they seem to be under the impression that it's okay to hit you. And then seem shocked that they're getting thrown out too. Like, oh my God, you had your hands on her. She was fighting someone else, was trying to break them up. Got to get kind of rough because they won't let each other's hair go. You put your hands on me, you are leaving too. Bye-bye. See you later. So a lot of times that was a big one because you're breaking up a female fight, expect like scratches, someone grabbing you. Fortunately, I didn't have hair for them to grab, but someone grabbing you. So really, girl fights are the worst to like get involved in. They get pretty brutal. They get pretty brutal. Benefits of being a bouncer. You do get hit on a lot. Now, when I was a bouncer, I was in relationships. I was in 2 different relationships while I was a bouncer, and I don't cheat. So I never reap those benefits. But you're going to get hit on a lot because you become a familiar face. One, two, you're very safe because clubs are full of like some creeps, a lot of Rico Suave guys, the Jersey Shore guys that are there. So you are going to get hit on, and it's because it's not really like they don't feel like it's them being turned down if they come up and talk to you. They're just coming up and talking to you because you're there. So you will get hit on a lot. I would get groped. They don't really appreciate that. They'll pat you on the butt. They'll think it's funny. They'll dare their friend to go do it. They'll come up and grab you. Things like that. Usually I was like, yo, keep your hands to yourself. And then I'd get the whole, oh, you're stuck up. What's your problem? Lighten up, blah, 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 blah. Once again, rules in society. Men can't go up and just slap you on the butt. You can't go up and just slap a man on the butt. It just doesn't work that way. Especially if that man's in a relationship. How would you feel if your man, okay, who's in a relationship with you and these girls went up and did it? I mean, it's just, it's respect. That's what it comes down to. Of course, some men, they'll willingly be like, oh yeah, go ahead and do it, which, encourages it. But you do get hit on a lot. Several times a night, actually. Like even the bouncers that aren't like good looking dudes, they'll like end up because, hey man, you're there, you're a man, you're safe, you're someone they've seen before, so they'll strike up a conversation with you, or they'll keep conversations going on with you, and it evolves from there. I know a lot of times we would carpool. Hated carpooling with a particular individual because no matter what seemed to happen, every time I carpooled with him, we had to give some girls a ride home. So I usually ended up sleeping on a couch somewhere. So that kind of sucked. Because you're taking the girls home, and of course I'm in a relationship, so I'm like there, and like you're supposed to be the wingman, but like I'm obviously not a good wingman because I have a girlfriend, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'll sleep on the floor here, and they're like, the girl will be like, oh, you can sleep on the bed, and I'm like, no, I really can't. I don't know you. I'm sorry, it's not gonna work like that. Appreciate it. That's very kind of you, but I want to sleep over here. I don't think I'd appreciate it if my girl told me, hey, you know what, went over these dudes and I slept in the guy's bed. It doesn't, so I was the same way like that, but my friend got a lot of play that way. Like I said, I'm never gonna say go be promiscuous, because like I said, you don't gain aura, you don't level up. There's the only thing you increase is your chances of catching diseases, stuff like chlamydia. Like seriously, I mean, like there's the deadly one, HIV, which just people just don't seem to understand. But there's other things like I don't want to walk around with a giant herpes on my face or something like that, right? So once again, promiscuity on either side. No, you know what? If you're in a relationship or you find someone you're comfortable with, why are you gonna mess that up? So you do get hit on a lot. You do get recognized quite a bit. I'd get recognized a lot if I went to another club, or sometimes bouncers will go to different clubs. You don't like partying at the club you work at, so you go to other clubs. Bouncers recognize you. I'd recognize bouncers, let them in the front of the line, things like that. So you do network. I see. Interesting story. All right. So it was a venue, so we would hold some concerts every now and then. And this rap group came in one night, held a concert. I honestly had never heard of them. Don't know who they are. Don't remember their name. But they're pretty popular apparently. Now the main bouncer, the boss, his name was Adam. He had a kid who was about my age almost at the time. And, skinny little kid. But he brought his girlfriend with him to the concert because she really wanted to see this rap group. Beautiful girl, like straight up, way out of his league. Like he's a skinny little thing, but she was like beautiful. So anyway, concert's over. My friend comes up. He's like, dude, they just offered me a job. They're gonna take me on the road with them. They told me that they leave tomorrow morning. That if I want to go, this is what they're gonna pay me per week. He's all excited because he's gonna travel with this rap group. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. So closing up shop. I'm talking to Adam and one of the other guys, and little Adam, his son, runs up. He's like, Dad, they're taking her. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, they're taking my girl. And I guess I don't remember her name. He said her name. He's like, what do you mean they're taking her? And he's like, she's walking off with him. Okay, so we run outside. She's got one of the guys in the group has her held by the hand. She's willingly walking with him into his SUV. Man, Adam runs over there, grabs her, takes his hand off her, pulls her off, stares him down, starts walking back. He's like, hey, what's your problem? So we had to beat down the entire rap group. So that kind of was fun. they got humbled. The guy, my friend who was going to work for him was like, dude, like there went that job. I'm like, hey man, it happens. But yeah, and don't know whatever happened to that rap group. Honestly, didn't like their set, didn't like any of their music. But it was funny to me how quickly she was willing to just level, like get rid of her current man, little Adam, and just level up and leave with him. Like straight up, like wow. It was just, see, these things that I saw when I was younger, just, kind of open your eyes to, you have to be really careful. There's a lot of superficial things going on in the world. And it was a little, my eyes open. I saw, like, I would see how women would use men. Like, it's like, hey man, they start talking to a dude. Next thing you know, her friends appear. He's guilted into buying a round of drinks, another round of drinks. And hey man, if you got the money to spend, spend it. Like, you know what? If that's on you, but to me, I earn my money. I work hard for my money. So I'm not about to just give it away. Drinks aren't, cheap unless it was a 2-cent night, which the girls were smart about because they'd lure the guy over to the bar where there wasn't a line and they were regular price drinks, but he would be suckered into doing that. Like I said, you see a lot of these things. And when I'm talking about females, you guys know the females I'm talking about. Don't there's a big difference between a woman and, a responsible female and these girls. And these are the party girls. These are the, the princesses. I don't need to wait in a line. I expect everything bought to me. What is your social status? Which brings me up to the VIP room. Let me tell you about that. All right, so VIP room, you could pay a membership, or you could usually, like, if I was a door guy there, you could tip the door guy $20 to get up into the VIP. The way the VIP worked was, manager basically walked around, and we had a female manager. She would like stamp all the really pretty girls and give them straight VIP access. Why? Because men are suckers and they'll run up there to the VIP room, or they'll buy the VIP because they would make money off these VIP memberships. They'd inquire, and you're like, yeah, you can get a VIP membership. Which is what I was supposed to say. I was like, yeah, but you know what? Give me $20, you can check it out right now without spending all the money, see if it's worth your while or not. So they'd get the VIP memberships. And of course, these pretty girls would be up there and these guys would be buying them drinks. And a 2-cent shot night, these drinks are more expensive than at the regular bar. Like on any regular night, these drinks are more expensive than at the regular bar. It's the VIP room. But, it was kind of just the lengths men will go to attract these girls. And just how much importance these girls put on monetary issues, and like what are you offering me? Because what are they bringing to the table? Nothing. They're like this. This is what I bring to the table. Probably don't even have a personality. I mean, and I'm not gonna get stereotype because there's a lot of girls that were not. They were like the ugly duckling growing up, and they just turn into the swan. They become beautiful, and they have that personality to go with it, and they're completely different. I mean, if you offer, like if I'm in a conversation with you, and the difference between Gandalf the White and Gandalf the Gray, I will buy you a drink. I will buy you 2 drinks, all right? If I'm talking to a girl and she's like, hey man, I buy her a drink and she buys me a drink back, that works, because I have bought girls a drink. Because the conversation led to that, right? It wasn't just like, man, you're an attractive girl. See, my hiccups are starting to act up because I'm not smoking. You're an attractive girl. Let me just buy your drink. It wasn't, usually like that. But you see how they just play these things because you see the same, like you'll see the same people coming over. And then the other thing that's just mind blowing is you see how promiscuous people are because you'll see who's with who and who's with who the next week and who's with who the next week. And the next week. And I mean, of course, men are just as equally just the hyenas. And I've talked about this in my other videos, just the hyenas out there hunting for meat, not just on their belt. And it's just sickening and just, they're throwing money and just trying to be just like you don't level up like that. I mean, you don't level up like that. Are you looking to level up and meet someone worthwhile? Because that's not where you're going to meet them. Straight up. You work in a club, and I encourage you, if you're young, work in a club, see it for yourself. Realize, you know what, this is not the place where I'm going to meet that person at all. Like, this is not going to happen. This is not the actual environment for that. I would see girls like just jokingly because eventually they don't even notice you're there. Like I'm standing there. That's my job, to stand there. And if nothing's happening, I'm just like watching and, being nosy and trying to listen to every conversation. You will hear girls bragging about how many guys they turned down, or I bet you I can get this guy to get assists. I bet you I can get this guy to get assists. Oh, I know that guy. Let me get him over here so he can buy us some drinks. Things like that. And it's sad. And, it opened up my eyes because I did it at a young age. And I was like, you know what? I'm never falling into these traps in the game. Never gonna fall for them. So yeah, I mean, if you're young and you have the opportunity to do it, learn. But I'm going to warn you, it's kind of a crap career. Like I said, no benefits, crappy pay. You do get a lot of death threats, and it's a little dangerous nowadays. There are some clubs where it's just like, you hear about stabbings and shootings every other weekend. I wouldn't be a bouncer anywhere in Chicago, like by far. I don't think they pay you enough, like to ever be so that kind of thing. But and I mean, but if you work in a chilled place, I mean, it's a good opportunity for you to go ahead and open your eyes and kind of see the social dynamics of people in that kind of environment, and how just shallow it is. Because I mean, honestly, like a lot of times it was like our main job, because it used to be a 2-level club. They closed up the lower level. Man, we had to make sure constantly that people weren't doing anything downstairs that was illegal. Like straight up, like you had to check every corner, like the stairwell, just like you'd run in there and like, damn, like no, like go home, find a bed. Like what is wrong with you? Like just straight up animalistic craziness. But it was fun times. I do have one more story, but I noticed I'm at 25 minutes. So, well, I guess not one more story, but the most interesting story was the 2 Live Crew concert. But I'll go ahead and make a part 2. I'll post this one today. I'll make the part 2 sometime this week. Because straight up in my life, that was the craziest event I've ever been to. And I was working that event, so it was crazy. And I'll tell you guys all about it. But straight up, it was a good experience for me at a young age, because it did open my eyes to hypergamy, social dynamics, not falling for the game, realizing how superficial people are. Because unfortunately, you're born with this. This is kind of just your genetic fucking crapshoot. You get what you're genetically born with, and a lot of times it's not reflected. Okay, you'll have someone look really good genetically on the outside, and inside they're just crap. But, again, if they can tell me something, interesting, or, be like, hey, man, you know what? They know the difference between Flashpoint Batman. If they know about Flashpoint Batman. Do you guys know about Flashpoint Batman? Straight up, look up Flashpoint Batman. That guy, that is the coolest Batman ever, because he uses guns. But anyway, like if a girl do that, I'd be like, yo, what are you drinking? Because we are talking about Flashpoint today. But anyway, once again, have fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It ran really long. Have a great one. Week's starting. I got to get to work tomorrow. So I bid you guys farewell. Once again, thank you for everyone who's watching me from outside of the United States. I am amazed that this many people are actually contacting me and watching me, and I appreciate every one of you guys. Have a great one.